And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning steam for Thursday, September 1st. I'm Ramon Scott, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mindy Hahn of Tony'sPicks.com. Mindy, thanks for getting up with me here early. I know it's earlier for me. I'm
Right.
teasing
A
you
lot
little
earlier.
bit. Mindy comes to us from the Midwest's premier sports handicapper, and I'm out here on the West Coast. Little early yet, but maybe it's late for me. I don't even know sometimes.
Right.
Mindy, how you doing? Great night last night. Maybe we're trying to find some winners. We'll try to find some today, but there was some good action last night.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of broke about even for the day. So, not total, not totally off base. But yeah, there is, quite some upsets, some really close games, a lot of action. I really liked how that Cardinals game ended, going into 13. So that was a whole lot of fun. And then also, we had those other, big events happen, like maybe Serena, something like that.
Yeah. Well, let me get to this. There were some exciting things last night, some fun things. The Mets and the Dodgers. That was
Right.
fun. What gave you more chills, Serena or Diaz's entrance there at the end of the game against the Dodgers?
Okay, well, Diaz gave me goosebumps, right? I mean, so it was a different kind of experience. Like, if I was there, I would probably be freaking out, right? Like, but when you watch it on TV, it doesn't have that, same exact, feel. But you could still, like, feel what was going on in that stadium. I thought it was, like, pretty cool. Like, I mean, I don't think there's a better intro, than that. And, Serena, it was more of like a pure excitement, right? Like almost joy. Like you said, we may be crying during that one, or I may not be crying during the Diaz. But yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. What a good night.
Yeah, she looked great. Not only in her tennis play, but her outfit, her style, her post-match interview. I don't think she's ever been more beautiful as a woman out there, and just she beat the number 2 player in the world. Mindy, why couldn't she win this tennis tournament?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I instantly think, oh my God, that, we're setting ourselves up for failure next round, right? When you have those big matchups, all of that, everything goes right. And then there's sometimes that little bit of letdown, by these athletes that happens, every once in a while. But for her, I mean, yeah, she looked great. I thought that she, you know, um, basically played her game, right? So she didn't let, some of those, points get into her head. The ones that she couldn't get to, she, gave up on, didn't get to. I think she kind of saved her energy. She, really paced herself nicely, throughout the match because she's not the same, 20-year-old Serena anymore. She's not the same one that has, the big muscles that she used to have. You know what I mean? She's a little bit out of shape, but she actually really understands the game and has played for a really long time. And durability is something else in this game. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm pretty proud of her for what she's accomplished, and
she really
especially being a role model for her kids.
Yeah, she really put it down in the third set, and you heard, from the analysts too. I mean, both players were playing at a very high level, and Connovate, maybe she folded and wilted a little bit to the pressure there in the third set, but a lot of those points were very high quality and high caliber.
Right.
So, like I said, yeah, you're right. Especially when you play only a handful of matches, that's where it might be a little bit tough to go on, even if you might be playing players that are lesser ranked, if you will. The rankings are kind of, it's a 1 year cycle, so you're still going to face some players that may be lower ranked that are still, pretty good players. So we'll see moving forward there. But man, that's funny. The two events were just right across the street, basically, from one another. A lot of it, and all the celebrities there. We
Isn't
saw
that amazing?
Tiger. I mean, he looked jacked when he's making that fist. His muscles were just protruding. Biceps, his forearm, just looked good. But a lot of celebrities there to see it and everything. So, uh,
Yeah. He was
exciting
quite.
action. I want to hit you up with this too, Mindy. I don't know if
Uh-oh.
you saw the rumor mill. I just want to hit you a little bit more Nebraska talk, if you will, before we get started. Maybe you didn't hear, or read about this, but what would you think about this? Let's say, the Huskers can only win 6 games, and now the talk is, how about Urban Meyer coming to Lincoln? What would you think of that?
I would like it. I think he's a great
Could
coach, right?
he fix things?
He could fix things, because as we kind of discussed a little bit before, Nebraska kind of has a culture problem. We don't have, guys that can really force their will on other folks. If you remember back in the 90s, you have this offensive line that says, I'm going to beat my guy every time. And I don't know if we've ever had those kind of players here over the last 20 years. Those guys that are just mentally tough, that will themselves upon their opponent. I just haven't seen that kind of same, philosophy or theory coming out of Nebraska. It's a lot more, we're going to do movement, we're going to try to be fast, we're going to try to do all of this. And that really just hasn't been the style. And then we haven't had, a coach that continued with the walk-on program. We always had to deal with the black shirts too, right? You give out the black shirts when you earn them, and then they got rid of that. So it's just kind of one of those things. Like, I think we need to decide what kind of team that we're going to be and stick with that. I mean, you can't go ahead and change it over every 5-6 years or so either. I don't know if Urban would come back. I mean, he's had health issues. I think he likes the, just being on the broadcasts so I don't know if he would, continue to go to another team or not. I mean, I think it would be great, but I don't know who Trev Alberts is even, looking for. But I do kind of think right now Scott Frost is probably out. I don't think there's kind of any doubt.
Seven wins couldn't save his job?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those, like, you got to get to the Big Ten championship or you're probably out of a job. And I don't know. I mean, I thought Nebraska was going to be, 7, 8, 9 win team, and I'm not quite so sure that's going to go on. I mean, maybe it will, right? Maybe Nebraska will beat the rest of the teams that they're supposed to beat throughout, throughout the season. But as of right now, it looks like the same Nebraska team, and unless Thompson can change that, right? So with Martina, it was always, he's going to throw for 5 touchdowns, but he's going to go and throw interceptions at the bad time. And that's what happened here with Thompson, right? He had 1:24 to go, 80 yards to change, Nebraska's course through an interception. So same, basically, the same result that happened in the last 4 or 5 years. Nebraska's just not really a good team right now, but I think they do have a better coaching staff around Scott Frost. Again, I think if Scott Frost stays within his means, maybe he could pull it out. Because, again, his one play was to call the onside kick. And that was, turned out to not be a great play.
Yeah, I mean, sticking with Frost, or actually when Frost got the job, yes, I mean, he was a very, very good Husker, and but maybe it was time to step beyond the scope of Big Red Nation, if you will, and kind of take a step up or bring in the big. And that was kind
of that's the thing. He didn't have the players that could play in the 90s, right? He didn't have that. And so that's why everyone said, oh, give him, 3, 4, 5 years of recruiting, then he'll be back on track. And that's what they've given him. He already took his $1 million pay cut. I think probably right now they're probably on the look. So Urban Meyer, okay.
Well, that was just some in the rumor mill, but it was, maybe I was just reading too much Twitter, but it was definitely something that was talked about on some of the national shows as well. So we're going to have baseball today. We got day games today, Mindy, 4 day games to talk about. We're going to start to get into the Saturday card. If you want Thursdays, we have Thursday football plays that we did 2 days ago. Tony put up his plays as well. Go to the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, and you can get free plays on today's card. We already talked about the six game Thursday card. We also talked about the 5 game, and we're just talking the major FCS games here, FBS games here for the next 2 days. So we're going to just start the Saturday card. We won't be here tomorrow, but then on Saturday morning we're going to be real deep into college. We're all going to be deep into college football. I don't think we can't even get to tonight soon enough, I would think. I mean, yeah, look, last week's games were just a tease, I think. I mean, even though this is only 6 games tonight, just the run up to the weekend of 5 straight days of some kind of college football. I think has everybody really chomping at the bit. I know we want NFL here, and no preseason is the first we're experiencing no NFL for a week, but this might be the way it might be a little bit more fun and work out. So just want to go over everyone, tell everyone to head on over to our website, Tony'sPicks.com. There you'll find our premium picks, absolutely our best picks each and every day. You won't find Mindy and I over there on the leaderboard today, Mindy. We got to get to work. I actually did not have a great day. You did better than I did, I think, on the show yesterday. So hats off to you. But over at Tony'sPicks.com, you see our picks. They're locked and loaded for several people here today. Nick, Paul, and Sam have picks. Tiffany, Daniel's got a college football 3-pack tonight. Here's some best bets as well from Collins. The GM's got his best play of the year. Ben's in the mix as well, and Tony has the $15 free pick there. And don't forget, our best bets are designated each and every day by our handicappers. They're able to pick one in each sport. And of course, the $15 pick. Again, a lot of them are using this as an introductory offer because we're just getting into the season. We want you to join us this season here at Tony's Picks for our first football season on the website. So anyways, head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Saves you 20% off all of our premium pick packages. Use the all capper tab. Find the handicapper that you think is either hot or you want to roll with, and you want to roll with Mindy and I, and you can click on their profile page and get signed up. You have Mindy's page here and then all of her packages as well. So, all right, Mindy, well, we can start to maybe get into this card, spend an hour together talking about the games. And again, we're going to go over the Major League Baseball card, 8 games in baseball, 4 day games, 4 night games, and then the 6 NFL games for you today. So thanks for being here. Oh, who's that?
All right, so this is a new one. This is a Felix. So this is JJ's brother. So Sassy's the Bombcat of the two boys. Yep, so we got the fun crew here, but this is his first appearance.
I don't know if you caught it yesterday on the morning, on the afternoon show when you were giving your ultra sharp analysis and the cat's waving the tail right by your...
Well, the thing is it's either I shut the door and they scratch on it and you hear scratching the whole time, or I have to deal with them for a couple minutes throughout the show.
We invite you to join us in the chat. Who's going to be first today? We enjoyed yesterday with all our few chatters, if you will. We're building our audience up and everything as well. So you can interact in the chat, send us messages, requests, tease us if we lose. We don't mind that. Put your picks in there as well. We'll flash them on the screen. Maybe you'll go. Maybe you'll have a good day and you'll be the host of the morning steam soon enough. If we can't get it together here, Mindy, I'm a little bitter. I'm sorry I blew up your phone with all my complaining about the bad beats, the losses last night, and bad beats. But I'm ready for football. I think maybe that I said on the show yesterday that I'm not one of those guys that says let's put the bats back in the bag and do away with baseball. But it is September 1st, so we know things are going to get a little bit wonky over the next month in Major League Baseball, but there's still some important baseball to go as well as these teams start to battle, and the races are starting to get kind of interesting too in some of the playoff chase, if you will. So some of these teams are going to be in action today. So we better just roll with the rundown, and if we have things to talk about, we will do so.
So you ready with Royals White Sox? I think that's our kickoff game today at 1:10 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, so I woke up this morning and I have no internet, so that's why you're getting this strange view of me. So I was hoping that the phone would work okay, and it looks like it is, so far. So we got Casey with Megden versus Cueto. White Sox here are minus 205. Over under is 9 on this one. So again, when I was trying to go ahead and put my best bets in, I have no internet, and then I couldn't even connect to my hotspot. So
so we're lucky we have you.
I know, because then I would have to go in my phone and turn off the Wi-Fi, so it would take that. But I have this one as another over game today, over the 9 runs. I like how the Royals and White Sox here have been playing of late. Cueto, he's kind of off and on, for me. I like KC where they're, with the bats right now.
Well, for me, Mindy, we haven't seen him in quite a while, really, in a starting role. And Cueto, I always like to see Johnny pitch, but I actually thought that I'd get a little better price here, so that's why I think I'm going to come in today still on Detroit, but maybe not anything that I might want to consider a premium here. I'm sorry, White Sox at home, but I kind of think with these two pitchers and the total at 9 here, that total does look a little bit high to me. Cueto has gone over in just 2 of his last 9 starts. He's done a pretty good job. I mean, he's almost got a rubber arm, if you will. I mean, remember I said a couple of months ago, I said, Johnny Cueto's coming, watch out. He's got a 3 ERA really over his 18 starts now, and he has gone under in 11 of his 17 starts this season. Still a pretty big number. I don't think I would trust the White Sox as a $2 favorite right now against even a team like Kansas City. So that does look a little high to me. Both teams very mediocre right now of late in the bullpen and in general. So, but for me, I think at 9 and with Cueto, look, these are low-scoring games that he's been involved in. In the last 3 starts, the average run total has ended up at just 5.7 runs. Sounds like one of Mindy's projections. And overall, in those 18 starts, just 7.8 runs per game. So for me, the play is going to be on the under here with Kansas City and the White Sox.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, I have a 4.86 to the Royals and a 4.20 for the White Sox. So maybe, my algorithm is just, totally off here. But that's what I come up with. So it's like a barely over, right? So it's like a 9.06. So that's why my trend would be a little bit over, but obviously, a close one here too. So, I mean, we'll see how this one here, plays out. Maybe something, where you get, the Royals and a little bit of value, something like that. Or a White Sox and, play a first 5 or, something like that too.
Yeah,
but those odds are just too high for me with the White Sox.
Yeah, Mangin just 4.1 innings pitched. We know he's, we've seen him before. He's been a major leaguer, but again, just not a lot of action from Daniel Mangin so far this season. But man, $2, who wants to lay $2 on the White Sox? And we know that, La Russa's had the health issues over the last couple of days. So again, I don't think that's a major factor. Mindy, did you see a video? I know some people probably saw this out of our viewers, but did you see a video? It was about a week ago. The White Sox were playing in a game, and there was the crowd was going crazy. It was a key moment. I think it might have been extra innings or late in the game, and they had a runner at second base. It was like tying or winning. They needed this run to get home, and La Russa was standing on the top step of the dugout, kind of. We often see him in the back. They probably play that video of him falling asleep way too much. It makes him look bad. But he was standing on the top deck, and there was a fan, a middle-aged man, maybe he was 60 years old, started to yell at Tony La Russa, and some guy's filming it. He goes, the old man starts going, hey, Tony, put an angle. Put him in to run. And for a minute, the crowd's going crazy. It's a key moment in the game. The batter's coming up, and you see Tony La Russa start to walk out on the field about 5 steps, and you hear the fans going, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on here?" And then, sure enough, he calls timeout. The umpire walks over towards La Russa. La Russa points, we're going to put a pin, and they put in angle to run.
Wow.
And the fan was just sitting. It was like, and they turn to the guy and they start high-fiving him and everything. And you kind of wonder, because it was definitely within earshot. La Russa had no intention at the moment because the batter was stepping into the box and everything. And the guy was almost about to pitch when La Russa started to walk on the field. I don't know if anybody, in our chat can I'll wait for our first commenter. Come on, chat with me a little bit if you saw that. Just a bizarre video that really went viral. I'll send that one to you too.
Yeah, you have to.
Just hilarious because it really looked like the fan called the shot there and told La Russa, one of the, let's face it, one of the best managers of all time, despite what we might think of him now being over the hill a little bit or out of touch. He's still the manager of the White Sox, last I checked. So, but the guy called the shot, and everybody's high-fiving him and everything. But the guy was just like, shaking his head like, "Come on, La Russa!" Like, this guy's a White Sox fan. So, all right.
That's awesome.
So that one, let's move on. But again, I can't necessarily lay $2 here. Let's see, just a little bit of breaking news here. Yordan Alvarez looks like he's going to be questionable with a hand injury coming up. Now that game, it's going to be Houston and LA on Friday, but I just saw that breaking news come over. Yordan Alvarez questionable currently. Go ahead, Mindy.
All right, then we got A's versus Nationals here on this one. So yeah, we got. Whoa, what is that one? Is it really -1115?
Whoa! Oh, this producer. 115, Mindy, I think is what we're looking at here. Let me pull you back though a little bit. There was a game prior to the Kansas City game on the board, Seattle and Detroit. Yeah, let me. I just want to keep us a little bit in time order.
Sorry about that.
If you missed that game again, Mindy having a little bit of technical issue on her own and with her internet.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It is
I'll cover this one and introduce it to you. How about?
I had it as a 6 o'clock game for whatever reason.
Okay,
so.
No, I do think it is going to be at 1:10 Eastern, 10.
Okay.
At 4:10 Eastern, 1:10 Pacific here. If I'm not, 1:10 Eastern, 10:10 Pacific. Seattle and Detroit. Logan Gilbert going up against Rodriguez in this one. You have Gilbert minus $1.65. I'm showing this one actually a lot lower. Again, I've typed these in about 90 minutes to 2 hours before the show. I'm showing some books now about $1.45 on Logan Gilbert as a road favorite here after opening about 165 and the total 7.5. You got anything on this one?
Yeah, so again, when I did mine, I had Mariners at -155, so we're kind of right there, kind of in the ballpark, where we're at. The Mariners, I think, have just been, kind of too tough, as of late here for these Tigers. I had kind of been on the Tigers on the run line here, the last couple of games. But as you can tell, that hasn't really worked out. Tigers hung in there yesterday. I thought I had a chance at something like that. But I think Gilbert probably too strong here on this one. I take the Mariners at the -155.
Okay, I'll go against you. I don't really. Well, the Mariners won the first two games fair and square, and actually, even though it was a 2-run margin, I think still a little bit convincingly. But I'll try Eduardo. I would prefer to get something closer to what I said, maybe closer to a plus $1.40. $1.45. That's why I'll make it a free player. I'll try one more time on Detroit with Eduardo. He's got a 3.18 ERA in his last 3 starts, just slightly better than Gilbert's 3.63. Although Eduardo having a little bit of problems with the walks right now, he's going to have to definitely clean that up a little bit. Overall, it's not terrible. 3.6 ERA this season for Eduardo. Gilbert been pretty good, 10-5. Seattle obviously playing still pretty well. Home dogs for me, so I'm trying to find a solution right now for a little bit of a slump. I'm going to take a home dog. Mindy and I will go heads up here. I'll take Detroit, and Mindy will take Seattle. Okay. Oakland, I fixed that now, the Oakland game with Washington.
Oh, okay. So we have Washington at -115 odds here on this one. For me, I'm going to go ahead and take the A's here. I like them on the run line actually at the plus 1.5.
Oh, at plus 1.5. So
yeah, for Oakland, yeah.
Yeah, they're a dog here. Sure. For me, I'm probably going to look to go under in this game if the total is indeed 8.
8.5 is, well, I had it at 8.5, but yeah, it's a pretty big one for not so big a offenses, right?
Oh, definitely. Washington has gone under in 7 of their last 9 games, so that's kind of what I was looking at there as we see Ken Waldichuk going in this one, making his season debut. So interested to see how Waldichuk fares. But yeah, for these two teams and these offenses right now, Oakland just hitting 216 over their last 10 games. Both bullpens have been excellent, especially Washington. 2.63 ERA over the last 10 games for the Nats, and 3.3 ERA at home this season for the Washington bullpen. So that's pretty good considering how poor Washington has fared this year. And Oakland, decent, 3.28 in the bullpen over the last 10 games. So for me, it's going to be a play. I'm going to go under 8. I'm not sure I can find an 8.5 right now. That look, it even opened.
Again, mine are from overnight. So when I was working on it last night. So yeah.
Sure.
I'm sure it's kind of made its way down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take under in this game with Oakland and Washington.
Cool. And then I think we have the matinee, right? Dodgers Mets. I'm not even sure what to think about all of this with Kershaw coming back and Bassett that I think's been pretty pitching pretty well. Both of those guys about 3 for ERA, whips of 1. Bassett only because the more games has the more strikeouts. It's one of those deals. I don't know who's going to get the winner of this cage match right here. So for me, I'm going to take that under 7.5 again here on this one.
Well, we have an agreement. I agree with you. I'm interested to see how Clayton Kershaw fares in this comeback game. The Dodgers, Kershaw goes on the disabled list, no problem. Gonsolin goes on the disabled list for this team, no problem. Funny, we think of the Dodgers and we talked about how they are, terrific 30 units, plus 30 units on the run line this season. But the Mets are one of the most profitable teams in the league at a plus 20 units overall on the regular money line this season. So, maybe people think that, hey, obviously they've been playing very, very good this season. And I actually thought Kershaw and the Dodgers would come a little bit higher, maybe as high as $1.50 with Kershaw pitching. But obviously Bassett, he's been pretty good this season and really solid of late, 2.95 ERA. He's won the Mets have won each of his last 3 starts. Kershaw, I think we saw him when he left. He was struggling a little bit, and that probably was because of the injury, because he has a 2.64 ERA and a 0.98 whip. I don't think Clayton Kershaw is going to rush back into the starting rotation right now, considering what the Dodgers are playing for, if he wasn't fully ready to go physically in this game, right?
Right.
There's no reason, because the Dodgers are, in first place. They're, on an incredible run right now. Last
20 games up, something like that.
Well, last night's game notwithstanding, the Mets, of course, we talked about Diaz coming in to get that save. And, the Mets won the game, a playoff atmosphere, huge crowd, and they still won the game, very, very.
And some good defense with, bringing the home run ball back in.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Did you really think it was going over the fence?
I did. I was rooting for it because I have the Dodgers at, plus 143. So I was rooting for it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it might have hit the top of the wall, but it doesn't matter because it was just such a terrific catch. Usually when you see a home run robbery, the guy kind of gets to the wall, maybe makes the jump. But Nimmo, he kind of leaped back into the wall and made that grab, just a terrific play. They were yelling play of the year. I've seen some pretty spectacular plays this year. Maybe for the Mets it was the player of the year, considering the moment and the game.
Right.
Just a terrific play by Nimmo there. But we're in agreement here, Mindy. Let's go under 7.5 in this one. You got to think that these guys can battle it out. Maybe you'll be interested in the first five under as well with these two starters in this one, Mindy. Both teams. Mets bullpen 2.57 ERA in the last 10 games. Dodgers pretty good as well with a bullpen ERA of 2.59 on the road. So under is going to be the call for me as well, especially considering last night's game was a tight playoff atmosphere with just
It was fun.
5 runs scored. Sure, game of the night. Probably another good game, and not the same atmosphere in the daytime. So glad we got to see Timmy Trumpet.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I actually tried to do the trumpet imitation on one of Tony's shows. I don't know if he liked that very much.
Right. All right. So next up, we got Orioles and Guardians again. So we have Radish for Baltimore, Bieber for Cleveland. Cleveland here, they're minus 175. 7.5 is the run total on that. I've been really heavy on the Guardians in this series, and I've been on the wrong side. Guardians here, they've been really big, heavy favorites. For me, I have them, with a +1 run here in the first 5 innings. I've had that all week. I have that here again today. So instead of taking, the Guardians at the minus 175, I would take them on the first 5, maybe like a, minus a half a run, something like that, at about, I don't know what it would come up to, 120, 130 odds, something like that. I haven't looked at those first 5 numbers because my internet is down, but that would be my play. But the Orioles, man, they're just so good. I mean, they're just scrappy. They all look like they just want to win out there. I mean, I love the attitude of the guys on the field. But again, my numbers are telling me that I should play the Guardians. So that would be my pick, but I really enjoy watching this Orioles team.
Well, we talked about how profitable those other 2 teams are. We just talked about, nobody better really, I think, than the Orioles.
On their,
plus
especially
30,
on the line. Yeah.
30 units this season plus 32 units on the run line. Just a terrific season for Baltimore. I'm happy to see it. This maybe one of the best stories in baseball this season. What the Orioles have done. I think everybody, fans I think fans that watch the whole league in general and gamblers too, especially if they've been riding the Oriole train, have been, fans of this club all season. I don't know if I can get involved with this. That's a big, big price. I don't know. I know you rely on your numbers, for a lot of your handicap, but Bieber, look, he's been terrific. Not only the 3 ERA this season, but a 1.77 ERA in his last 3 starts. But Bradish, who has over a 5.5 ERA this season, but just 2.95 in his last 3 starts. So he's kind of got that Oriole spirit a little bit, I think, as he starts to get hot a little bit. I think people starting to root for this team to make a push here and get something done. So, but for me, I think it's going to be. I've got to come back with the Orioles here. I'm going to try them one more time. I know against Bieber, maybe the run line is the best way to go. I think it's a pretty fair price at, let's see, +1.5, minus 135. I'm going to take them on the money line. We'll take the Orioles on the money line here at about a +$1.50 or $1.55 or so in this one. I'll take the Orioles against Bieber. Look, Bieber's great, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
One of the best pitchers this season, but I just can't. Right now, the Orioles are just too much fun. Too much fun for me, and I think they'll certainly be in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blow. Like you said, you kind of the number you have Cleveland rated high. There's no problem, I think, with you having Cleveland rated high because they've been a profitable team this season. Despite the fact that they're perceived as a pretty decent ball club, still plus 10 units overall for gamblers on that money line. But Mindy, no bullpen is hotter right now than Cleveland. I'll have to try to fade them a little bit. Listen to this: over the last 10 games, just a 0.68 ERA in that one, and both teams struggling at the plate right now in the last 10 games. Baltimore just a 199 batting average against right-handers, in Cleveland in this one just a 193 batting average over the last 10 games versus right-handers. So I think we'll see a tight game. Maybe that gives Baltimore a chance to hang in there as well. I'll take the Orioles.
Sounds good. Next up, it looks like Rangers versus Red Sox. So we got ourselves a new series here after the Rangers lost to the Astros yesterday. And then Red Sox beat up on those Twins, which I was on the wrong side of there. Twins had a good shot at pulling that one out there at the end. But there was a lot of double plays made with one out in those late innings yesterday. I noticed a lot. But yeah, so we got Boston here with Rich Hill minus 160. Over under is a 9.5 on this one. So for me, I kind of like where, the Red Sox have been, trending. I think they've been playing, pretty well. But then at other times, I feel like the Red Sox are just, I don't know, not really in it all this much this year. So for me, I like that Rangers team. I think they play, they play pretty tough. I'm taking the Rangers on the run line here at the plus 1.5. I had it minus 145 odds.
Yeah, Rangers competitive, but they can't win. So here's the thing, Mindy. They're not a profitable team on the money line, but on the run line, they are a profitable team. Plus 10 units, 10.5 units close to this season. Boston struggling a little bit with just 3 wins in their last 10 games overall. And, Rich Hill, people make fun of him a little bit. And, he doesn't have anything left. But listen, just a 0.94 whip over his last 3 starts. So he's actually looked pretty good. But Otto has actually looked a little bit better. These guys kind of have similar numbers.
They do.
But Otto, over the last 3 games, just a 2.7 ERA, a little bit higher on the whip. I think this price is just a little bit too high for me, and I've got to take the Rangers here. If you want to try the run line at minus $1.25, that looks pretty decent. But I'll go money line here just because we're on the free show, and I think the Rangers can be competitive here. They're right now having a little bit better work in the bullpen. Boston bullpen, Mindy, a 6 ERA over the last 10 games. I'm gonna go with the Rangers here as a pretty big dog in this one. So maybe we got a little bit of a discrepancy there. Obviously.
Not much. Again, I'm a little.
Oh, you said Rangers run line, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit more of a conservative bettor. I always kind of have been. Again, like I said, I give myself, the most options out there for me to win this game. Again, a lot of times, according to my numbers, something like that with those big underdogs, they win about 35% of the time. But yet I can, catch them more at, say, a 55% if I go the run line. So it's just kind of basically what your betting, philosophy, is on that, So we got, looks like, thanks, y'all.
Yes, Blackhawk, you're our top guy. Corbett comes in, obviously a Blackhawks fan, and he likes seeing the shows here. We're going to build this community and have way more interaction. Look, Mindy and I, we have a good rapport together on camera. That's why we decided to get this show together. But we thought we could kind of play off the comments a little bit and roll the show that way. So it's going to take a while to get started that way. But here on the Free Picks Rundown Rapid Fire, that's what we do. We just fire away with just a couple of tidbits for you and give you the picks. We know that there's time and a place for analysis. We got our other shows. We can dive into it a little bit, show you kind of our expertise and our philosophies in handicapping. Here, just a couple of tidbits to kind of back up our picks and everything. And thank you to Blackhawk, to Corbett for coming in and being the first commenter of the day. Just type in your comments. Yes, we want to see your comments below as well, but just type right in to the chat there. If you're not driving or watching on your TV or anything, if you're at your computer, give us some comments. We'd like to maybe have something else to talk about for a few minutes, but we're already at almost running out of time. We're only through the baseball card. Let's keep rolling.
I know, we need to get going. So it looks like we got Rockies, Braves up next. The Braves are giant favorites. They've been giant favorites all week, and they've, just been a little bit slacking at the job. So I've been real happy with the Braves. They beat me last night. I had them minus 1.5, and gave up a home run there, top of 9. So it's kind of a crappy way to lose. But it's all part of the game, which makes sports betting fun, right? It's like our adrenaline, drunk junkies watching these games.
I'm not having a fun week. This is the highlight of my week has been starting this show with you, Mindy. But we need to. I need to clean it up a little bit. I know that you've been saying the same, but go ahead. Tell me more.
So again, I'm gonna stick with my Braves at this one. If I can get, I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. It might be too high for me, to bet this one. I don't know exactly what the run line looks like at the -1.5.
Minus 170, Mindy.
Yeah, 170 would be, too much for me. I might go ahead and try to see what the first 5 looks like.
Okay.
My pick would be the Braves. 175, I think, is a little bit too much.
Well,
just because they've been a little bit
minus a half, minus $2 on the first.
Oh, so that's even worse. So yeah, if I was gonna do it, I would take the run line on this one. I'd take the -175 if I had the choice, just because that other juice is a little bit too high. So that'll be my pick. I'm gonna take him at the -1.5 here for the free show. It's up to you if you're a player that would take that -175 or not.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this before I give my pick. Like I said, I'm in California. We haven't legalized betting yet, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the voters do the right thing. they've actually tied the one that would bring in, DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM with helping homelessness. So they're going to take the money there, and really the thing is, when that money's already spent, it's almost a done deal as long as it passes. And the lawsuits won't be able to do anything because this money's going to already. But they're going to take sports money and try to help the homeless. So, hey, that works for me. Because you know what? If you go on a losing streak like I've been in this week, you can just freeload off the rest of the bettors and go to a homeless shelter or a homeless housing. I guess don't want to make not too much light of those that are not having a great
struggling.
time.
But yes, I get it.
Mindy. So what I was really getting at was I bet offshore, so there is a lot of options when you bet offshore at some of the books, and you mentioned the first 5, and a lot of times there are variants of that. So in a first 5, would you consider something such as laying 1.5 at a cheaper price with something like this?
Let me go back to see what I have.
Oh, okay. It was more a philosophical question, but.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I have it here. So I have, for the first 5, I have the Braves at a 3.33 and the Rockies at a 2.26.
Okay.
So for me, I would take that probably at 1, but probably not a 1.5 on that, just because my numbers, don't back that up.
Now, Mindy, when I go through the numbers myself and I try to set my line, in this one, we're at the point of the season when we talked about it. Tony talked about it too. We're into September now. We're seeing these inflated lines where, definitely not for us, right? I mean, laying these.
Right.
But when I formulate my numbers, I kind of put that as part of the formulation, if you will, into the line. So when I kind of estimate, I was like, well, I think the Braves are going to come. I think it's going to be one of those ridiculous ones. I think the Braves will be minus 425. So I'm wondering, what would you advise to me? Do I have value here on Atlanta? Would I really want to? Maybe I should lay, $3.5 because it's come way under my estimation. I don't know. That's kind of interesting on that.
Well, does it depend on how much you're up for the year too? Right? I mean, how much?
No, it shouldn't really, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like it's a difference in philosophies, because I kind of feel like, I want to get those bets in. That's going to be the biggest bang, for my buck here. And you have the Braves. Basically, if they would happen to lose this game, that's like you losing 4 games that you didn't really have to do and could just take a pass on this. And again, for me, so like what I did yesterday is, I could take. Say the I think it was the Braves and the Cardinals. I did a 2-team parlay on the money line. And so that went ahead and cashed. I only made 10 cents on $10 kind of thing. But that's another way that you can play these if you want to have action in on this game. I mean, for me, I just haven't found the value in playing a game like that straight up. Betting 100 or betting 360 to win 100. Like, I just think there's better games that give you more value out there. Kind of like what you talked about with, say, the Rangers. We know the Rangers are 10 units up on the run line, or you can take a chance and a stab at that plus 120, 130 odds. I think that's for me, my the way I bet. The only thing that I would do is with these big money plays is to put them in a money line parlay. That's about what I would do on that. So not sure if your philosophy is any different. Saying, well, if I think it's going to be 420 and I am getting value at 360, yeah, I'm going to make that play. I mean, gambling is a risk reward, right? So it's going to be what you do. If your philosophy fits that, I think gambling is about being consistent and making your plays consistently, and you have to play over time. This is a game of failure. 52.5 is break even, and the best people in our industry are 55, 57. So we try to hit, those 60, 70 marks weeks every once in a while to be above that average. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, and at 425, you have to hit 350. You have to hit a pretty high percentage as well. So I might end up, I don't know, I might have to take a pass here, because here's the thing I was looking at. I wanted it to come $4, and I wanted to take Colorado on the run line, and didn't get that. So the other thing was I was kind of reserving the total for a premium. So
Gotcha.
Sorry everyone, I've got a pass. Here I am. Nobody. Like I always say to Tony, on our website, no one's picked more winners on our website than I have. No one's also picked more losers on our website. So,
it's just
anyways,
that you picked a lot more winners than you have losers, right?
and again, this is one I'll just wait it out, because a lot of times on these big favorites, they just become runaway favorites as the day goes along, as people start to put them into parlays and the books continue to move that line. So I'd say keep a look on this line, and I'm going to look to get involved probably with Colorado. I'm the type that doesn't mind taking plus 2.5 runs, at minus $1.25 or something. That
like that
really,
2.5
I don't mind that. Because baseball games often end up, especially how many times we kick ourselves, when we lose that run line. I sometimes don't think there's much of a problem. I'm different, I think, than a lot of bettors in doing that, and I will take 2.5 or even 3.5 runs and lay something like $1.60. I told you yesterday.
Right.
Sometimes, because a lot of times you get those late runs where the pitch just throw it over the plate, they get that run and whatnot. So one more baseball game, Mindy. We came on a little late, so we know we still got some plenty of time left. Let's move on. One more game here with what do we got? That's going to be
Brewers,
Milwaukee.
Diamondbacks, right? Yeah. Woodruff and Kelly, Milwaukee here minus 135, over under 7.5 on this one. So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking the way that the Diamondbacks have been hitting, minus here as of late. Brewers, especially against a team like, the Pirates, not the greatest of pitching staff, also putting up some runs in this one. I'm going to take the over that 7.5 in this one.
Okay. I love the pitching matchup here, and I'm worried about your play, but I'm gonna mark that down.
Okay.
But it was weird, wasn't that? Phillies series was just so bizarre, right? I mean,
yeah.
All the Phillies score all those runs in the first few innings. They led 7-0 in the first game. Then Arizona scored like the next, I don't know, what was it, 18? Maybe it seemed like 30 runs in a row. And then last night, the Phillies went off.
12 to what?
It just shows you how bad Arizona, I think, really is. I think is what that really shows. So for me, I think there's a lot of value here on Milwaukee. I know they've kind of tailed off. I mean, they're fading a little bit. I want them to fade because they're in the battle with the Padres, really to make the playoffs. The Phillies, the Milwaukee, and San Diego, they're kind of the ones battling right in there for that those wild card positions. And I'm rooting against Milwaukee. But for me, Woodruff, 2.16 ERA. The Brewers have won all 3 of his last 3 starts. So as poorly as they've played, just 3-10 on the road the last 13. But here's the thing to kind of back up what you have, Mindy, is Arizona has gone over in 9 of their last 10, and Woodruff has gone under in just 4 of his last 18 games. So a lot of overs in Woodruff starts. So maybe there will be some offense here. But for me, I think it's just too good of a price on Woodruff. Look, Kelly's been terrific. He's got 3 ERA this year and still kept it up. But Woodruff is a guy who really hasn't missed a beat. He has not slipped up. And I think at $1.30 in a game where I estimated he'd be about $1.60.
Right.
How does it work, right?
There's your good
I'm
value.
doing the right thing, right? My number came out 160, 130. I'm learning from you, Mindy. I'm gonna go with the Brewers in this one, and that's gonna wrap up baseball. And as we get into football, let me bring in another chat comment because this one will fit right in as we get into the football card.
That's right.
This is gonna be again. You won our Thursday plays. Just go back 2 days ago on the morning steam. That's where our plays are. And of course, Tony's plays are on there as well for the football games for tonight. And on yesterday's show, we covered the football games for Friday. So right now we're going to get into Saturday, and these are going to be the first games of the day on Saturday, if you will, Mindy, right? So just the noon Eastern slate until the 3:30 Eastern. Basically the games that lead up to that peak window, if you will, the one that, the major games that start at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, the national games, if you will. So these are the early starts. There's just 6 of them on the main board for Saturday. So that's what we're going to get into today, and that'll probably wrap up our show right there. But let's bring those up.
And I think Matt has been with us all week, so that's exciting. I hope he's a regular.
Thank you to Matt for a comment. We've got 2 commenters today. I thought we'd have more as we went along, but again, new show, and we're getting promoted and everything like that. So we're happy to have you, and we're going to build our own community here as the season goes along, because this is it. This is the time that we've all been waiting for football. I mean, love all the sports. We love to have action throughout the summer with baseball and, of course, basketball, hockey, whatever you like. But let's face it, this is what drives the business. This is what everyone gathers around for Saturdays and Sundays. So, all right, Mindy, you ready? Do you need me to introduce these football?
Yeah, I'll need you. I guess. Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah, how about you go ahead and start? Just because.
Well, Buffalo and Maryland, seems like kind of a matchup that's a bit of a mismatch here. And I got to tell you, Mindy, I've got a premium on this one, so I'm not going to talk too much about the side. I've got a premium on the side. Log on to Tony'sPicks.com. This one was one of the ones that I gave out quite a while ago. Actually, this was a pick that I had on my mind over a month ago. So all of my premium subscribers are probably already involved in this game, Mindy. But the Maryland Terrapins are favored by 24 points, and the total here is 65. We know Buffalo has been a pretty solid team for a smaller team over the last couple of years. Sure, they tailed off a little bit last year, but Mindy, what do you think? Do you think the Bulls will be improved this year?
Maybe not. I mean, I'm projecting them maybe like a 3 to 4 kind of win season. Maryland, maybe 4 to 6 game win season. So I kind of look at Buffalo really likes to run that ball. And so for me, being a fan here of the Big Ten, I like Buffalo in this one. I just don't think Maryland's going to be able to cover that minus 24 in that one. To me, maybe that 65 seems a little bit high also. But I probably wouldn't have a play maybe on the total right now for me, only because I mean, being so early in the season, I'm a numbers person, so I have a hard time, kind of projecting where I think these are gonna go, right? So basically, everything that I do is going to be based mostly off of coaching, returning starters, talent level, that sort of thing. So for me, it's really hard to cover these big spreads. It's really hard to go over a number like 65 in the first month of September with offenses out there.
Tell me more.
Just getting into things, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at there.
I am too, Mindy. I don't think they get to 65 here. I'm not sure. Maryland. Look, you're on the right side. I think if you're just a numbers player or a market player, because Maryland opened about 20 and a half, and now they're 24. So the value, right? I keep preaching it. Everyone throws out the term value. The value is on Buffalo, right? Because you could have laid 20 with Maryland, and now you got to lay 24. So, but for me, I agree with you. I don't think that the teams can get to 65 here. I think the game's going to land somewhere in the high 50s, and that's going to be my free play for you. But we'll tell you, in reading a lot of the magazines as far as recruiting classes, for example, Buffalo. Now that's probably not going to affect this game, but Buffalo might have something going as far as their level in the MAC is concerned. I think Buffalo's a team to look out for moving forward. So maybe the value could be there too. They're obviously still a pretty solid team there in the MAC. So, but for me, under. I'm going to go under the 65 here. Again, my numbers, pretty much in the high 50s. So under for me, buddy.
All right, sounds good. What we got next? Because again, my computer is down, so I don't have these kind of prepared for you. Okay. You want to start there, then
The
Ramon?
Michigan Wolverines. The Michigan Wolverines. Go Big Blue. We're back in Mindy territory. We're staying in Mindy territory here.
Right.
In the Big Ten, and they're going to get a visit from the Mountain West, Colorado State. Michigan, Mindy, a 30.5-point favorite, and the total 61.5. I'll roll it off for you. As you get together. I'll maybe start up with these games, right?
Yeah, you start, and then I'll catch up since I lost my notes on the computer.
Harbaugh doesn't take any prisoners. I mean, you think about Harbaugh, you think, they're running, they're grinding it out. Against a team like Colorado State, man, to me, look, it's hard to lay 30 points with a Michigan club, and they might even give it up on the back end. We could see, I think, a score, a crazy score here, and Michigan could put up a big number. I mean, they're going to go, I think, into the 40s for sure, if not more. I don't hesitate to lay 31 points with Michigan in this game against Colorado State. Michigan's got two decent quarterbacks. They're in a quarterback. I don't even think they're in a battle at this point. Those quarterbacks might think they are, but Harbaugh, unless one gets a super hot hand, we could see them both. And against a team like Colorado State, they have a lot of work to do, I would think, here. So I think Michigan is good to go. Like I said, you think about Harbaugh, Mindy, and Michigan and grind it out. Harbaugh is one of the best over coaches in the country. So they end up, now a lot of times because they end up playing in their Big Ten, when you get up against those other good Big Ten teams, they end up giving up some big points too. But against a team like Colorado State, I just don't see it. I mean, this one to me, I don't know, 49-14, something like that. It wouldn't be out of the question. Michigan is going to be a big day in the big house for the Wolverines. They got, there'll be issues this year. It's not like Michigan is going into the BCS playoff or anything. At least the rest of the country knows that, but Michigan, they probably think they are. But against Colorado State, watch out.
Well, I mean, I think this is a good under total of season wins here for Colorado State.
Season wins.
Yeah, season win total. Colorado State under 5.5. They have a new head coach. Not been a good team. That's kind of some of the reason for that. Michigan is going to be a bit interesting, right? They got new offensive and defensive coordinators, an offensive coordinator that's never called plays before. But I do like their defensive coordinator, and the defense wins games, and they're a top recruiter. I kind of think if there's going to be 100% win this week, it's going to be Michigan covering that 30 and a half.
Mindy, remember, we looked at some videos together, and you remember, we looked at some videos together about how steam works. Remember in Michigan, this total was much lower, and we saw why this total moved. There's been some very sharp action on this total over. And here's the thing: you talked about Jay Norvell coming in to Colorado State, and they're going to look to pass more. And so once Michigan gets up ahead in this game, that's what my concern is. But again, they got to be successful with
that. Well, that's
that.
why I said in Michigan, whether or not they're going to, challenge Ohio State, Michigan State is going to be, how this offensive coordinator does. I mean, so that's why I think it's always nice, to play this team like a Colorado State, get your feet underneath yourself, instead of being like Nebraska playing in Northwestern. Don't play those conference games right away, one of those things. I know it's just kind of, for fun, but I mean, these games really will help Michigan if they want to have that 11, over 10 win season again.
All right, let's take a look at this one now. North Carolina State's going to be an 11.5-point favorite taking on the East Carolina Pirates. North Carolina State opened in the summer about an 8-point favorite here, so if anything, you got to consider maybe that value is going to be on ECU. Mindy, I got to tell you, I got to play on the premium play on the total. Here's the thing: I predicted on our show, you were there, that I had 4 key releases over the summer that I liked, and I estimated that I would beat the line by at least 20 points. And I'm here to apologize, Mindy. I did not meet that goal. I only have beaten the spread in those 4 key games by 19 points.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I think for me here in this one, I like that value on ECU. I think North Carolina State's fine, but ECU is a pretty gutsy team coming in. We'll see what happens, but for me, the play's probably going to be on ECU here. I think nothing special, but I think I'll prefer the Pirates in this game. I had some notes here, but yeah, for me, I think just the fact that the line's kind of gone up. NC State, I think, is getting. I don't know if it's sharp action more than public attention here, but for me, I'm going to take the East Carolina Pirates in this one, getting double digits. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much, on this game as of yet. I was trying to find my notes. It's one of those, like, I give East Carolina, a pretty small chance of winning this one outright, based off of season totals or what I think, the prediction is. But I agree with you that North Carolina State, playing in the ACC, that tougher competition, I do like them covering in this one.
What did you say about the East Carolina? Did you think they were priced too high in the win total?
On that one there, I am trying to find my notes. I had them basically at like a 14% win chance in this game, so not very high, right? Okay. And so I'm trying to find I can't find their season total right now. I don't know why.
No problem there. I mean, we know that.
I'm working off the paper instead of, I'm complaining about technology.
No problem. Yeah, no, North Carolina State, I was kind of bummed they came out here for the bowl game last year. I was going to go to the bowl game because they were going to play it in the baseball stadium for the first time, and I thought that was kind of going to be interesting. So had tickets to the game and everything, and that was one of the bowl games that was canceled. We had to cancel the game because of the pandemic. They were going to play UCLA in Petco Park. So the game didn't work out. UCLA had some COVID issues, but they won 9 games last year. They returned, a lot of, I think, 15, 16 starters to that team. So they still could have a pretty good team, but I just think, I'm going to take East Carolina in that one. All right. This one should be, I don't know what to say, Mindy. You saw it. We all saw it. I mean, North Carolina is pretty much a talking point at this point after their first game. I mean, they looked just woeful. Forget about those touchdowns on the back end. I mean, they were, a massive favorite, and they were in a dogfight for basically 3 quarters. So you can't be high on North Carolina. I'm not saying the game has passed by Mac Brown at all, but this is Appalachian State. I mean, this is a great team. I don't even know if they have this one right. I mean, I don't even know if they have the right favorite here in this one, Mindy. I mean, North Carolina, I don't know if they can stop them. I don't know if North Carolina can stop Appalachian State.
Right.
I mean, this doesn't look right at all to me. Look, I think the game's going to go over, first of all. I think Appalachian State can score. Carolina did show some ability to score, I think, in that opener, but man, they look terrible. Not impressive at all. So, remember Florida A&M had all those. They were missing all those players. 25 guys. Now it was only 3 starters, but it's still a Florida A&M team. I mean, these teams are not up to the caliber of those teams, and it was embarrassing actually for North Carolina, despite winning by such a large margin. I mean, the line closed. Remember, it was 35, 36. 37. Then that news came out, and they were a 43-point favorite. And I was like, I'll lay it. What am I? I'll lay it against Florida A&M. But remember, Florida A&M, they had tried to back out of the game. They were not even going to make the trip, and it was the players. And I get it. When you join a football team, and there was dissension among the players too. Some were saying, we agree. I mean, but many players, and the vote came out, the players kind of voted to go play that game. And maybe that's what kind of spurred them on, was that underdog mentality, and North Carolina thinking complacently that, they're playing a team that, has a thin roster that they were already 5 touchdown favorites against, and they almost blew it. I found myself rooting for the Rattlers there because I knew the bet was dead.
Right.
So why not
but then you're like,
have a great story with this team, with all their suspensions coming in to beat North Carolina? And quite frankly, it was a loss for North Carolina. I think as a lot of people are concerned because of the way they performed.
Yeah, I have a lot of push and pull with this game, right? I have a lot of different ideas of how I think it will go. You have an Appalachian State team that is just very, very, very well coached. And then you have Mac Brown that's a really bad coach. So, but you also probably have a little bit more talent there in the ACC with North Carolina. I mean, I've seen, some places project them as much as 11 wins. I don't know if that's possible. I like Appalachian State. But if I kind of take a look at, my numbers, my projections, that sort of thing, I've got North Carolina winning this by, a touchdown. But there's absolutely no way that I'll ever bet this game. Oh, no, not whatsoever. My pick would be North Carolina. But I'm just saying, personally, I would stay away because I'm so undecided. Like, if I had to make a play, like if you were, twisting my arm, that's probably what I would do. But again, North Carolina's just not well coached. Appalachian State is. So am I going to take, that is what's going to be the determining factor in this? Or is it going to be maybe North Carolina with a little bit, better, talent? Or is it going to be how I see some of these, maybe folks that have a little bit more insider information saying North Carolina might pull off a 7-win season? I don't know.
Did you downgrade North Carolina, or did you just chalk that up to some funky stuff that was going on that maybe affected the mentality of the team?
No, it's coaching is bad at North Carolina. That's all. That's just what it is. But
has the game passed Mac Brown by? Did you never like him, or?
I just never liked him. I mean, never liked him. I just don't think he's a good coach. I think he makes, again, too many bad decisions, or not winning enough games with the kind of talent that he has there, and coming up and losing those big games like you just talked about. I mean, what are you going to say when Appalachian State, beats North Carolina? Or we're going to say
winner.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Then you say, well, Mac Brown, he's not a very good coach. So, you know what I mean? So for me, this one is really, really tough because my heart wants to say the better coaching, I'm going to go Appalachian State. But then I say, well, if I have better talent, I'm going to look at North Carolina. I think that's why the spread is 1.
again, my official free play here on our fast free picks rundown rapid fire,
Fast.
which has kind of turned into a slow crawl because of my talking, but is going to be on the over. Mindy, I'll give you this statistic. This is point blank, hard course to 15 years of data.
Okay.
Teams that are playing their first game against teams that have already played one game.
Oh, yeah?
56%. There's no other qualifiers. There's no home road. It's flat. 56%. There's a little decimal in there, but it's 56%.
Yep. I'll take it.
Have not played a game against teams that have played a game. Takes a team that hasn't played a game, and you go 56%. So, and you take it for what you will, folks. Mindy said right there, you need, 56% as a professional is always going to get it done. If you're a tout, if you're a handicapper, there it is. I just gave it to you right there.
You did.
All right, Mindy. Let's take a look at the next one. Yes, so we're going to go up to the Northeast for a little bit of a matchup here.
Oh, Rutgers versus Boston College. Huh?
Yeah.
Let me see where I got. You can
Boston
go ahead and
College, a 7-point favorite, and the total 48. Mindy, Boston College opened up about a 10-point favorite in this one, so the action has definitely come in on the Scarlet Knights. Look, I think Rutgers was the side. I'll give them out here as a free play, +7. I think they were really good to go at +10. But look, BC, they've got to replace some players, no doubt about it. They're not rebuilding or anything like that, but they've had a little bit of turnover in some key spots, including the entire offensive line. So for me, I think Rutgers is going to be the play in this one. I think as far as the total is concerned, it could be right there. Maybe it sneaks over this number, but for me, it's going to be Rutgers. I'd prefer to get, double digits if I could, and you could have. I was just a little bit slow to the draw on this one. I'm going to take Rutgers +7 as a free pick.
I tend to agree with you here with Rutgers on this one. Boston College, they pretty much lost, their whole staff, and then with, Rutgers, I mean, I think they're looking at, not a lot of wins here this season, but this could be one that they cover the spread, on this one. Again, with kind of Shiano, right? We expected him to do a lot better, I think, as well, and he's kind of struggled, at Rutgers.
This is his year. I mean, this is the year where his players now are. He's got they're in place. It's still Rutgers. I mean,
right.
There'll be some struggle games. There'll be some good games, but this is it for him. This is the year they're supposed to get something done.
Yeah, I think this might be one of those Boston College wins by a field goal, something like that, or otherwise, maybe Rutgers gets this one outside, outright, and it's one of their 3 wins on the season. But having those new coaching staffs, I like to stay away from them initially, so you can see what they have, right?
All right, just touch on that one briefly, and then we'll get into the last game. We'll wrap it up. Maybe we'll talk about a few other sports going on just to capsulize what's going on today here on the Morning Steam. All right, we're going to come out west here, Mindy. Mindy was 103 yesterday where I'm at.
That's what you said.
Had some errands to run. There are like 3 major fires around. All the traffic was diverted. It's been crazy global warming's going on. Who knows what's going on? But it's hot. Players are going to need to be well hydrated in this one because it's expected to once again be very close to 100 degrees. And Bowling Green comes out here to take on the Bruins and the UCLA. Is that a typo? Does that say 23? There's just no way UCLA is going to come close to beating Bowling Green. Mindy, look, I got to get a free play here. I want to give somebody something to grab onto. My free play is going to be Bowling Green on the money line +750. I think they can give. This is going to be a tough game. There's no way UCLA should be a 3-touchdown favorite in this one. Look, they'll probably win the game. I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm going to sprinkle the money line with Bowling Green, but I'm definitely going to be taking the points as well. I got to tell you, my official play. I'm giving away. I don't want to give away my premiums, but again, I think it's going to be an under. First of all, I don't think that UCLA is going to produce enough offense against a pretty deep. I like Bowling Green. Really, to tell you the truth, and I think they're live. They're live. They're going to be in. No, I'm sure they'll be in this game all the way. Um, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Bruins at all, Mindy. Give me Bowling Green plus 750. That's my free play.
Well, it's one of those, like, I feel like you know more about this because you're out there, but I'm like, totally in like disagreement with this one. And I hate it when that happens, right? I see Bowling Green with one of those like bottom five, stats in the or staffs in the MAC, and I have UCLA winning this one by like 34. Okay. So it's, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I hate that we're on opposite sides sometimes. But again, if you look at this where, I'm looking at, coaching staffs and, talent. And, for me, these, early weeks, I don't really like them only because I don't have a lot of stats. I don't know how these, teams are going to fare. I don't know how they're going to look. And so for me, with that bottom five coaching staff with Bowling Green, that's the only reason why I would take UCLA. But I am like super intrigued now that we are so far apart on this one, right? Like it's crazy. Like you're like Bowling Green money line.
Yeah, well, do you remember the game? I don't know if you remember this game last year. Bowling Green played Minnesota. They were 30-point underdogs. They won outright.
I do remember that.
They've got a very experienced team. They're not going to be intimidated by this game at all. And I think they do go in. And again, I want to say that I expect a stunner. To me, I will not be stunned when they stay. I missed the value in this game, and it still may end up as a premium for me. But again, that's why I'm giving out the money.
Well, I think here. Ramon, if you're going to take Bowling Green here on the money line, that you need to take Bowling Green at over 4 wins this year.
Oh, for sure.
Because I only have them at like 2. But I mean, if you're thinking like, they're going to win some of, these types of games outside of the conference, I think they have a really good shot at going over here on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they'll be fine. I think they will be fine. Yes, I do have Bowling Green rated higher than everybody, than a lot of people. But I just think they have a lot of experience coming back. And again, I don't dislike UCLA. I mean, I like watching. I love all these West Coast teams. That's just the way I am. I'm not a big I hate this team, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But to me, they're just not impressive enough on enough occasions. UCLA gets themselves
into
in trouble in a lot of games where they're expected to win or compete, and they're a team that overlooks teams in matchups. Again, UCLA opened as high as 27. The money's come in on Bowling Green. The value there is not as much value in Bowling Green. If you want to say there's by my philosophy, there's no value in Bowling Green, right? I've missed out on 4 points, but my numbers indicate. And again, Mindy, it's not that my number says Bowling Green is a better team than UCLA.
Well, yeah.
No, but again, I'm basing it on the those factors that a lot of times in handicapping that again, when you put team A against team B, yes, we're always going to have our numbers, but and really most people should always, you're going to have variance and everything, and maybe this is one discrepancy where we think one team is much better than the other, but in general, most people are going to have the same kind of power rankings up and down the line, even for all the teams, right? But as handicappers, what we try to do is determine when a team is going to be at its peak, when they're going to be down, the emotional factors and the how about this term? Is this a real term? I'm going to make it the human algorithm, right? It's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day for the Bruins. And again, throw in the heat factor. Remember, there'll probably be a couple of breaks in there during the game. They usually have each quarter they'll take 2 minutes for a water break. I don't know if that'll be the case in this game, but I think you will see that in some of if this continues out here this week. Temperatures in the hundreds in Southern California. You could see that's not a factor. I'm just explaining what the conditions will be like.
It will definitely factor, especially when it's first game out of the chute there. Conditioning always runs into play. You see a lot of cramping occurring. You never know who that's going to affect. Is it going to affect a quarterback, a running back, wide receiver, someone that is really, integral into the game. But again, Ramon, I probably won't, have too much into this game here. Probably won't put a wager on myself. So,
I have a feeling
gonna,
you might put a sub up
I'm going to
now
be
on
rooting for
Bowling
some
Green
bowling
money
green
line.
for you.
Yeah, you might. Now that I talked you into it. Funny you mentioned. We'll get out of here. It was pretty warm, and I went out for my first game 2 weeks ago to I cover the high school games, and walking up and down the sidelines for an old guy like me. Sometimes as the years have gone on, I used to do it great. Now I like to cover the game right from the field. I take my phone out there. I go right into the end zone and get highlights and everything. And early in the third quarter in the first game, my leg did cramp up, and I had to lean up against the goal while the teams are out in the middle
Ramon,
of the field.
drink your electrolytes.
I think you
got to
some
condition.
water out there or something.
You
And
got to stay hydrated.
I'm gonna go to a game. I'm thinking about going to the first half tonight, the second half, at a couple of games. And
they have those pouches now.
Hot.
They have those pouches now with pickles in it, so you could put that in your back pocket.
The pickle juice is all the rage, and I don't know if I can do it. The kids are doing it too. The athletes are doing it. So, a lot of the games now, the teams have cameras that are automatically set up. You pay $10 and you get it. But as long as the team has it set up, and what it is, that actually every team has one. It's just a matter of setting it up because it's something coordinated with the National Federation of High Schools. That really every game can be televised. All you got to do is send them a thing, say, send me the camera.
Oh, really?
And they charge people $10. I'm thinking about just sitting at home because it's so hot and watching the camera feed and doing my reporting that way and just text the coaches afterwards and say, too hot.
Then you said that there's fires there too, so you don't have to sit and smoke, right?
Yeah. Not like one year we had the fires were major enough. The air quality got bad. The whole week was canceled. Just a few years ago, I think it was 2018. We had massive fires, and the whole card for the prep games was canceled for 1 week. It was that severe. So, okay, let's get out of here, Mindy. Unless you have anything else, there's some soccer tonight. I did see some soccer, just a light card in soccer, and of course tennis. Not as exciting, I think. Yesterday's card featured match tonight. If anybody, the featured match in New York will be with Rafael Nadal. But we're going to be back. We'll be gone on Friday. Ramon needs a break, but just because I do some other coverage stuff, and we're maybe working on that. I hear Tony and the GM, they're kind of urging how we can get it together, and maybe, what? Let's hear from you. Type it in the chat. Do you want a show on Friday? If no one, I'm extending the offer to our audience. Do they want a Friday show? Put it in the chat. Maybe that'll put the pressure. And then,
or do you just want a killer Saturday morning show before game time?
Right. That's what it is, because we are going to be back on Saturday, and that's what we're going to give. So we've covered these first 6 games, right? But we have a ton of action still, and that's where we're going to join you on Saturday, because everyone's going to be so fired up. Yes, we're going to have a lot of fun Thursday and Friday with these college games, but Saturday, the massive first card. We've given you the first 3 hours of starts here, but we're going to get into the rest of the card in a show. We'll probably go 90 minutes or so. We've almost went 90 minutes here because I talk too much. That's why we got kicked off the other shows. But we'll be back on Saturday, Mindy. Don't forget to head on over to our website, tonyspicks.com. These are where you'll find our premium picks, our best picks every day. Over at Tony's Picks. Mindy, what you going to do today on the site?
So I'm going to have a lot of baseball. Again, I haven't, put those up. I mean, not a lot because it's a small card. But that's what I'm going to have. It's just baseball today. I'll put in my best bet, hopefully after this, when I can get my, hotspot back working, hopefully. And then I usually have a 3-pack as well. So I might only have 3 plays. We'll see how it works out. I don't know. Might go up to maybe 5, something like that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to invite everyone, since Mindy and I do this show together, to get the 2-for-1 capper promotion for 7 days, because we've got such a hot card over the next few days. The 5 days, of course, of football. And we'll throw in a couple more days of baseball, some WNBA. I'm sure I'll have. in there as well. So pick up Mindy and I for $2.29 over the next 7 days. I think that sounds like a pretty good offer, and get our exclusive, our premium picks, our best picks every day over at Tony's Picks, or match us up with some of the other handicappers if we're not quite hot enough. Mindy, I'm going to issue a challenge. We better be on that leaderboard on Saturday when we come back, because we have disappeared. Leading up to this show, we were two of the hottest cappers, there's no doubt about it. And we started this show, and all of a sudden, we're not. So we got to get back on that leaderboard if we're going to gain the respect of our other handicappers on here and our viewers. But again, I think we gave them some great information, especially over the first part of the football card. Look at our previous shows to get all of our other picks as well. Use the promo code Tony T at checkout, so that the $2.29. Tony always says, I'll do the math for you, and I'm not very good. 20% of $2.29. I think I could figure it out in my head, but still, get that savings over at Tony'sPicks.com on any premium pick package, no matter what the duration on those. And again, you can match us up with the other handicappers as well, including the ones that are hot, like Tony in baseball. So, all right, buddy, that sounds good. Unless you got anything else, we'll get out of here from the morning steam. It's been a pretty good weekday show. No show on Friday. Come back and join us on Saturday.
I'm excited to I'm going to sleep in tomorrow.
See, that's the plan. I get so involved in the weekend because of my other assignments that I don't know. Maybe I'll feel good enough that I'll add the Friday. You don't have to join if you want, but I've just planned that that's where I need, like a bear. I need to store up my rest, because I go from, I do the high school coverage, and I usually stay up writing some prep stories all night on Friday night for Saturday morning. So I release those stories, cover a bunch of schools out here, and then you go right into Saturday. So that's where I figured I'm going to hibernate and get ready. So maybe I'm old. That's just the way it is.
We work most of the evenings, and during the day we do another show. Handicapping is pretty much our gig, minus that you do the sports writing. I don't, I'm not that good of a writer. But anyway, it's like, that's why we do all the hard work for you, so you guys don't have to. So you can watch us for, an hour, 2-hour show per day and get our expertise. We've been doing this for a long time. And we think we've refined our betting strategies to help the general public. And that's why we're doing this. And that's why Tony had faith in us as cappers. As you know, he's, one of the best here, probably in the world. And, so we're excited to join him. And we're glad that he's given us the opportunity and that he has faith in us to pull this show off. And again, you can catch us and do maybe a little bit more analysis, or it's just fun to hang out with Tony. So you can catch us at 3 p.m. Eastern every day as well.
Yeah, thank you for promoting that. Don't forget our soccer show also with Paul Agaretos at 2:15 Eastern and 11:15 Pacific. Like I said, there's just 3 major games today in soccer. But Paul, he likes to dig into even deeper. I'm just talking about the major 5 leagues, I think, if you will, is what I saw as far as the 3 games. But he'll get into other as well, including South America and others. So, all right, Mindy, thanks a lot. Great job. For Mindy Hahn, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're fun.